as in their house, not their house, in their big palaces, where it was back then. I do not recommend that. They'll take their hand off. I'm sure back then there weren't lawsuits going on, so that's why they tried it. The sad thing is today, don't let me bite your head off. The sad thing is today that this animal only exists at the equator and south. Now, a lot of you know where the equator runs through Kenya, right? Almost like in Central Africa there, where you look at the equator through Kenya. This animal is only found south at the equator and south of the equator. So he's an alligator and a crocodile. And I've always asked the difference in an alligator and a crocodile. Look very close, just look into the nose and all of them. You can see the difference right away. Now, maybe not the alligator, look at the crocodile, you see the difference. This animal here's a real success story in our country. This is one of the most endangered animals in the U.S. in the 1960s. Why does the bird have that? Why does he do that?
He's a predator, and he is keeping his eye on his prey. So if there's wind and it's very breezy, he can still keep focus.
I wish I had a head like that. This is what I want to know. Can you say something for us? Oh, I see what the problem is. He sees himself on the screen there. At least see what I did. I'll tell you what. You won't be coming back. No. We're going to bring back out the end of the show and have you do it. That's a dingo. Now some of you are sitting back there saying, oh, that's just an old dingo. That's just a dingo. That's no big deal. Look at it very closely, everyone, because there's only about 320 purebred dingoes left in the world. In the world. I'm talking Australia, in the world, 320. The dingoes you see a lot on TV, even my show, I'm sorry to say, we've been there many times to film, and we did film the true dingo once on Fraser Island off the coast of Australia. But most dingoes now have inbred with domestic dogs. So you see they're black and white, brown and white, all kinds of colors. They're this big, they're that big. That dingo's 7 years old. That's as big as they get, the true dingo. The dingo has, she lost her picture again. So we can raise the lights if you would. We're going to raise our house lights here. There we go. Raise it a little bit more so we can see. I'm going to let you tell them what kind of bird of prey this is.
This is a red-shouldered hawk.
Where's it from?
You'll find them along the eastern seaboard. He eats mice, any kind of small ground prey. He hunts with these great talons that he has, and he'll use his beak as well. And he'll live deep in the forest. He likes to stay away from civilization. That's due to the smaller size of the bird.
It's a red-shouldered hawk, and all birds of prey, by the way, in this country, everyone, owls included, are all protected species, all right? They have incredible eyesight. They said they could actually read a newspaper at 100 yards. I don't know if we did that research, but that's what they said. This is a red-shouldered hawk. We all have all types of hawks, by the way. You've heard of the peregrine falcon, everyone? She was just telling you about how they can stay away. A lot of these animals are adapting to our environment from the standpoint of coming into our homes, neighborhoods. They have to live there. There's nowhere else for a lot of them to live. It's really working with a lot of, like the peregrine falcons nesting in downtown New York City, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, all over the places. And that's the fastest animal in the world, the peregrine falcon. Not the fastest. In 1976, I did a show where they were flying the peregrine falcon about a mile in the air. You've seen the falconers, how they do that? And he told me to open my legs up. He would fly between my legs from about a mile up. I'm going to tell you something. I'll never do it again. I haven't had any kids since. No. But that bird was like a bullet. It was like a bullet going through there. It was unbelievable. It came down so fast you couldn't even see it. This is a red-tailed hawk that Beth has. And these birds, by the way, we get a lot of birds, folks. We were called. We cannot take animals in zoological parks hardly anymore. So we go to the rehab centers. A lot of states have some real nice ones. And that's where we go now to get our birds if they've been hit and can't be released in the wild. But this is a red-tailed hawk. We'll turn around one more time, and you can see the red tail there. It develops. Now the bald eagle, you know the bald eagle, when it hatches, gets full grown in 12 weeks. Can you imagine that? Just like these birds here, they grow very, very fast. But the bald eagle's white head and tail doesn't develop until 3 or 4 years of age. That's why a lot of bald eagles are still shot. People think it's a cat. Some people say it looks like a bear, some people it looks like a cat. Guess what? It's in the mongoose family. This animal's in the mongoose family, which means it eats about anything it wants to eat. Whether it be birds, even small mammals. They'll even try to take down something 3 times as large as they are. So they're a very powerful creature. They're nocturnal. And again, they're from Asia, all right? Burma, Sumatra, they live in the rainforest. That's why very few people get to see them. I've never filmed them in the wild because they're very hard to find. A lot of people in that part of the world, because you can see its manner, is an animal that people try and bring in. I can't get you, that's close, not right. All right? It's a palm civet, everyone. The palm civet marking its territory there. That's a palm civet. Do you believe that? How many of you remember the SARS disease that we had in our country Remember the SARS disease in Asia that killed a bunch of people about 5 years ago? And also in Canada, 80 people lost their lives in Toronto. This is the animal that causes, not this animal, this species of animal causes SARS disease. And why is that? Because this animal is a delicacy in China. It serves about $200 in a restaurant. Everybody, this is the Maryland Zoo. And this is a green-winged macaw parrot. I think you see the beautiful colors up there on the screen. Now, I'm always asked, should we have a parrot as a pet?
Can you see okay?
To answer that question, I would never have a parrot this size as a pet. They live to be over 100 years old. That beak can take your finger off. Now, I'm not against people having a parrot as a pet if you know what you're doing. Hissing cockroaches from Africa. But I have a lot of fun with these cockroaches. When I travel, everybody, and I go out to eat, I order like a nice meal, like in a salad, and some bread, and the waitress comes in, how's your meal? How's it going? I said, oh, it's just great. I said, man, you got a problem. I said, you have cockroaches.
That's a big snake, huh?
And I can't even carry that gigantic snake.
No. Everybody, this is a python. This is a Monty Python. Alright? This is a beautiful animal. The largest snake we have right now in the zoological park in Columbus, Ohio now, where I've been for 30 years, we have a snake there that's 30, let me see, get this right now. This snake is 27 feet long and 300 feet like that, and it'll bash against the ground and kill it. It works. It's amazing work. I've seen this only once in a while. They're the funniest things to watch when they hunt. They go out there and they just love to eat snakes. They pick them up. Let's hear it for Suriname from South America. About happy feet. Well, last year was really a year for all the penguins. This is a penguin that helped Robin Williams open the Happy Feet show. He flew out there to California to help open that show. In March of the penguins, you had the cold weather penguins. A lot of you don't know this, there are about 17 different types of penguins throughout the world. 17 different types. And guess what? Only 5 live in cold weather. People don't realize that. Only 5. All the rest of them are warm weather penguins. This is called the black-footed penguin that lives in South Africa. Or it's also called the jackass penguin. Now why is it called the jackass penguin? Because when the breeding calls come out, it sounds just like a donkey. And I've got a guy that works for me, Keith, that's the #1 expert in the world that can show you how a penguin makes its breeding calls. Keith, there you are. Keith does not like doing this, but I have to do this, please. It's more breeding season. It's working, I'm telling you. Another 2 weeks, Keith, you'll have it going, buddy. Let's hear it for Keith, everybody, the Columbus Zoo. In all seriousness, about 2-3 more weeks, they breed a couple times a year. It's amazing to watch when Keith does that. This is a black-footed penguin, but this tongue is a little appendage. It looks like a worm. And what happens is, when he does open his mouth, the fish come by there thinking this little appendage is a worm in there. And they go to try and get it. And of course, that's when the snapping turtle obviously bites and takes care of the fish, or whatever it might be. And they don't let go, by the way. Very difficult. Look at this animal. This animal, by the way, has been aged at 80 to 100 years old. It's a long time he's been around. They can live to be 150 to 200 years old, the snapping turtles. They spend most of their life in the water, right? Where their back it gets real algae. Remember, you can't even see one of these. When we dive sometimes and try to film this animal, you can't even find it because it's so covered in algae and mud, it's impossible to find it. But isn't that the porcupine? And that tail is like a possum's tail, right? Lives in the trees all its life. All its life is in trees. And you see those quills. Those quills have a barb on them. Matter of fact, some of you sitting in the front row can smell him right now. The smell is beyond anything. It's terrible. That's their means of telling their mates where they are, or whatever it might be, or even telling a predator. A finnick fox from the Sahara Desert, northern Africa. It's called a finnick fox. Remember, you find foxes, the gray fox, the red. How many of you have foxes here, right? Up there, red fox, gray fox, the Arctic fox, the blue fox, and the finnick fox. They're all over the world, foxes, obviously, except not every kind. But the animal has big ears for the main reason. Obviously, you have hearing. It hears little insects and everything else to eat them. The main reason for those big ears are like an elephant. Species of owl. There are about 17 or 18 different types of owls. This is the largest. And by the way, this isn't full grown. It's called the Eurasian eagle owl. It's about another half foot taller than that. It's huge. This animal has excellent eyesight and excellent hearing. Now you've heard the saying, the wise old owl. It's not because the owl's brain is very big. The owl's brain is very small. It's because there's ones in the world. I'm the 17. Look at that. That animal does not even weigh probably, I wouldn't even put it into ounces. It's just mainly feathers like the big owl over there. Look at that big owl. This cat spends 90% of his life in trees, 90%. Again, it's only half grown, so it's not a very large cat when it's full grown. The animal has the longest canine teeth of any cat in size in the world, 2 inches long. The sad thing about the cat is that when it's hunted, which it was hunted, the sad thing is today is, it's a good thing I guess, is that there's so few of them that they can't even find them to hunt. Now, there's only 2 people in the last 5 years that have ever seen one of these cats in the wild. Only 2 people in the last 5 years. And that one person saw it with a tripwire camera. So we only have a picture of it. So if someone said, Jack, there might be 150 left in the wild, there might be 50. We don't know how many are left, if there's any left in the wild.